Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Wednesday, the 13th of March. Hope you're having a good month so far. Don't know whether it's getting warmer for you or not. We are pretty chilly here. We had a couple warm days last week and then bang into the deep freeze again. But hey, it's still March. Came in like a lamb, so it's probably going to go out like a lion. I hope not, because then I will be in Niagara Falls for House of Bishops. I hope it doesn't go out like a lion. Um, Today I wanted to talk to you because I was reading something this morning. I saw it on Facebook, I think, and it was said Maya Angelou had a sentence that she spoke to the author, and it really stuck with them. She said, "Every storm runs out of rain." How true is that? How true is that? Every storm runs out of rain. There have been so many times in my life when I have been in the middle of a storm, like a literal storm, particularly with my dog when Jude was alive. He did not like thunderstorms, and we didn't get a lot of them in Nova Scotia. He was pretty cool there. But we started when we moved to Round Lake, Ontario, near Petawawa, near Algonquin Park. We got some real humdingers. And a couple of times when it rained, we'd have a storm like that, we were out and we'd come back and the electricity would have gone off and he'd be home in the dark by himself, just shivering. He was so upset about this. And then when we moved to Wainwright, we didn't have an Alberta. We did not have a lot of thunderstorms, but when we did, look out. And we had an alarm system that would go beeping every time the electricity went out, and it would drive him nuts. The high pitched, and animals really don't like the high pitched sounds. And he would just shiver and shake and crawl up, his whole 95 pounds of him, on our lap, and he would just burrow into us, just terrified of a storm. And I used to sort of whisper to him, "It's okay, puppy, it's okay. It'll be over soon." And and that actually helped me to remember that no matter how bad this was, no matter how many hours it might take, it will run out of rain. The storm will pass. And there have been so many seasons in my life when I've reminded myself of that. When Rob was sick, or we were waiting about an answer for a new job, or things like that, when it was like, okay, this is really bad right now, and it feels like it's never going to end. But this too shall pass. There has to be an end. There has to be. The problem is that when we look back on things, we can say, "Oh yeah, the storm was only 2 hours," or "that season of my life only lasted 3 months, and then everything got better." When you're in the middle of it, though, that's the hard part, right? When you're right in the heart of it, it's really hard to think to yourself, "Okay, yeah, okay, we can get through this." And I think sometimes that's where I am, and probably that's where lots of people are, especially right now. In Canada, we've our prime minister has stepped down, and our new prime minister in waiting. I'm not entirely sure what the correct um, the correct nomenclature is, but Mark Carney is to be our next prime minister. And there are now the comments are made. Will he remain when he'll call an election, and when the election is called, will he win his seat? Will he win? Will the Liberals get the most seats? Will they win the most? Will their party be in power? Will they beat Polyev? And so the machine will ramp up. And that seems kind of terrifying right now, because we're seeing what's happening to the South, and something that I truly believed wouldn't happen. I thought for sure people would come to their senses, and in the end, when I was traveling at the day of the election, I arrived in England at Heathrow Airport in England on November 5th, or sort of on November 6th, because the 5th was the election. I got there in the morning, and to discover that the world had changed. I found it from my Uber driver as he drove me an hour and a half to Canterbury. It was a very long trip because his family lives in Romania, and they're terrified about what will happen if Putin decides he wants to take a look at them next. So it was a long, very tired, hadn't slept conversation that sort of made me start thinking, oh, the next 4 years. And now up here in Canada, the question is, are we going to have, because ours are usually 5 years apart, our elections, if everything's going well and nobody's, no snap election is called or anybody gets ousted. 5 years, that's a long time to wait if the party that you do not support is the party that wins. And so the political climate in the world is overtaking a lot of what we're doing. But we all have to remember that every storm runs out of rain. It may not mean that that the next 4 years or 5 years go quickly. It may not mean that um, that eventually all good things will start happening. What it does mean is that we will learn. If the storm doesn't pass quickly, we will start to make umbrellas. We will dig out our galoshes and we will learn to jump in the puddles. We will keep those packets of eyeglass cleaner to keep our glasses clean when we get them wet. Because the fact is that, well, indeed, Maya Angelou is right. Every storm runs out of rain. We can't just hunker down and wait for all the storms to pass. We have to live our lives. We have to get out there, and we need to be able to celebrate life and have hope. I've been talking about hope for the last couple of days. To celebrate life and have hope, because you know what? Even in the storms, good things happen. The storm, I love what happens after a good, in the spring or fall, after a good thunderstorm. The ones with all the electricity. And then what happens when it stops raining? You look outside and the sky's still really dark on one side, and on the other you can see over in the horizon you can see the light. There's a beautiful huge rainbow. And then if you take a look down and look at the trees, the leaves of the trees, and the green grass, the hue that they take on because of the play of the lights and because they have been absolutely drenched with a cleansing rain. And sometimes the breeze that follows a good storm that comes in and it sweeps away all of the staleness and all of the debris, and that smell that happens when you take a deep breath. You can smell fresh. You can smell a new start. Electricity has cleared it out. I've often said, with respect to my husband, I refer to the fact we have knockdown, drag out fights. Now, we have never hurt each other. We never touch each other. Like, we don't hit each other. What I mean by that is we sometimes, the gloves are off and we say things we should never say. And, we both have hot tempers. Um, I have a fairly long fuse, but when it goes, wow. He has a short fuse, and when it goes, wow. And sometimes his short fuse and my long fuse both meet at the same time, and it's an atomic bomb. However, the older I get, the more I'm able to predict when those will happen, because you can feel the building up of electricity. You can feel that energy in the air that just needs to blow up. It needs to happen. The storms have to happen. And then what happens when it's over? We take a deep breath, we apologize, and it's like, okay, let's start again. We're in the middle of a storm. I think most people, from whichever perspective you look at, would say that. Even if you think that everything that's happening in the States politically is great, your RSPs probably don't think so with the stock market, right? And if you don't think things are great politically in the States, well, I get you. Same thing in Canada. We have all the same issues, all the same concerns, just on a different scale, and a different timeline. Ours are creeping forward a little bit more slowly than yours are. But the thing is, we cannot ignore the storm is coming. We cannot say, like by Angelou, every storm runs out of rain, but you have to have the storm first before it'll run out of rain. And it will probably be a deluge. Well, we're there. We're in a deluge. We don't know when the storm will run out of rain, but we do know we can go out and get those umbrellas, and we can get our galoshes and our raincoats, and we can get our little things to keep our glasses clean. I've always wondered if anybody would ever invent little windshield wiper, like with wipers for glasses. That would be kind of cool. Annoying, but cool. We have to do things like make sure that if we see the storm coming but it hasn't hit yet, get up there and clean out the gutters. Clean out our lives of all of the things that might the keep the things that we need to keep us sane intact. Sometimes, like a gutter before the summer storms, the spring storms, or the fall when the leaves fall. We need to keep our gutters clean so that when the rain falls on our roof, the gutters are clear and they're able to do what they do to pull the water away from the foundations of our houses. Same thing if for our bodies and our minds and our souls. We have to, when times are good, like for Canadians right now is a good time to do this. When times are good, we need to clear out the gutters. We need to just clean out the crap that might be accumulating so that when the time comes and we need a capacity, we need those spaces within ourselves to have a capacity to hold and divert, that we'll be ready. Because yes, indeed, every storm will run out of rain, but every storm will still bring rain. So there's beautiful wisdom in what Maya Angelou has said. But the wisdom that she shares with us begins really with those words that are unspoken, that every storm brings rain. And it's up to us to figure out how to be ready for it. So my hope for you today is you can do a little of that gutter cleaning, whether it's in your head or in your home or your however the decisions you make in your life, whether you're going to travel to the States or not, or all those things. Make those decisions, do that thinking, do that gutter removal stuff now before we find ourselves in the middle of a storm. Because then we'll be ready to handle the storm, and we will be able to remember what Maya Angelou said. Indeed, every storm runs out of rain, even these ones. Have a great day. God bless, and I'll see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.